Welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. If you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC Fight Night, Alvarez vs. Dos Anjos for the UFC Lightweight Championship of the World. Sparks flew on this main card top to bottom. This was just such action-packed Fight Night card. So this is a post-fight recap of the main card, and let's get started. The main event was for the UFC Lightweight Championship of the World. Rafael Dos Anjos defending his belt against Eddie Alvarez, former Bellator Lightweight Champion of the World. Had the epic feud with Michael Chandler back in Bellator, and now he's in the UFC. He had some fights under his belt in the UFC, and he was fighting for the lightweight title, which he won. First round TKO punches. It was crazy. It was insane. Dos Anjos landed some hard, heavy shots before he got knocked out, though. And this was 3 minutes and 49 seconds into the first round. I think Herb Dean, the ref, called it off a little too early. I think he should have let it go on a little bit more, give Dos Anjos a little bit more of a chance. However, Alvarez was getting the better of the exchanges, and it was starting to go towards Alvarez was just, Alvarez was just starting to really dominate. And so Eddie Alvarez is the new UFC Lightweight Champion of the World. And wow, this is the only match on the main card I got wrong. I had it first round knockout for Dos Anjos, but Eddie Alvarez, kind of surprised me a little bit here, because I thought that Dos Anjos' pace would be, just him teeing off on Alvarez mid to late in the first round, which did sort of happen, but then Alvarez was able to get back on track and start having his time. So it was pretty much a stand-up war, and it was a great battle to the end, and Eddie Alvarez came out victorious, TKO punches, round 1 victory, your new UFC Lightweight Champion of the World. Then in the co-main event, we had a heavyweight clash of the ages with Derek Lewis versus Roy Big Country Nelson, and this one went to decision split. Roy Nelson went for some takedowns and got some of them, and then Derek Lewis, he landed some heavy shots throughout this whole fight. And this is one of those things where you went back and forth of, well, what counts more? The punches of Derek Lewis or the takedowns of Roy Nelson? And, it turned, the way it works for me, my rule of thumb is one takedown, assuming nothing else happens and the guy gets back up, that's worth one good combination, say like a 3 or 4 punch / kick combination. So in theory, we'll say 7 takedowns worth 29 or 28 strikes. And so if someone lands, say, 35 strikes, and assuming they got back up right away after every takedown, then the guy that landed more, especially if they're on the bottom and they're landing more strikes than the guy on top, I think at some point the guy on the bottom starts gaining more points in the judges' scorecards, if I'm a judge. So I think Derek Lewis, the striking was really lopsided in this fight in favor of Derek Lewis. So I say Derek Lewis did legitimately win this fight, and I became a bigger Derek Lewis fan after this fight because he apologized to me and the rest of the Derek Lewis fans, saying that he promised a finish, he wants a rematch with Roy Nelson, he hates decisions, he didn't want to see it go to the judges' scorecards, drove him nuts. And I wish more fighters said stuff like that. I wish, especially some of the decision-heavy fighters, they just go, well, it's a win. Well, yeah, it's a win, but don't you want to just shut up the critics? I mean, and hey, if you beat this guy once before, you can beat him again, right? So props to Derek Lewis for stepping up to the plate and demanding a rematch with Roy Nelson. I think it's a smart move, and I think Derek Lewis, he's definitely deserves to be in the top 10 rankings in the heavyweight division after a performance like this. And I say, yeah, if he wants a rematch and Roy Nelson's up for it, why not? I mean, this fight was, you could argue it the takedowns or the strikes. But yeah, Derek Lewis did his thing. I'm really proud of him. He's always an exciting fighter, and even though this fight went to a decision, it was still an exciting fight. And he won by split decision, and I think the judges got it right. And yeah, if there's a rematch, I would love to see Derek Lewis get a big flashy knockout. Nothing against Roy Nelson, but I'd love to see Roy Nelson try to redeem himself. So it's a win-win. Again, I'm a fan of both these guys. So Derek Lewis gets it done, split decision over Roy Big Country Nelson. Then in the welterweight division, we had Alan Jouban versus Belal Muhammad. And this one was decision unanimous. This one was essentially a points match, and a lot was going on with the strikes here. Yeah, Alan Jouban's always exciting. His strikes are always good and flashy and crisp. And again, keep up the good work, Kenny Johnson. Yeah, so Alan Jouban defeats Belal Muhammad by unanimous decision at welterweight. Then to kick off the main card in the lightweight division, we had Joseph Duffy versus Mitch Clark. I knew Joseph Duffy, he had finishing power, but what I was not expecting was I thought he was going to get a knockout in the first round. He got a submission rear naked choke in the first round. Blew my mind. Was not expecting it. Again, I was expecting a big knockout for Joseph Duffy. He's one of those explosive fighters at lightweight to watch out for. And Mitch Clark, he's a tough, durable veteran in the UFC, so it's an impressive win for Joseph Duffy. It puts his name really back up there in the map. And yeah, it was only 25 seconds, so not a whole lot to discuss there. So there you have it. That's my post-fight show for the main card of Alvarez versus Dos Anjos, UFC Fight Night. And stay tuned for my next episode, which will be the pre-fight show for the Ultimate Fighter 23 finale with Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Claudia Gadelha fighting for the UFC strawweight title of the world, and then the two finalist matches from season 23. So there you have it. Stay tuned. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of my episodes coming in the next few days, and yeah, it's International Fight Week. So until then, see ya.